Lesser, and today I'm going to read chapter 16 from Lily's story. I was so excited to see that door open that I could not possibly remain in my girl's arms, no matter how secure it felt. I wiggled and squirmed and pushed with my back feet. Maggie Rose gasped with alarm and shifted her grip, but I gave one last twist and jumped to the floor. Kittens! Lily, no! Maggie Rose fell to her knees, grabbing for me, but she was too late for a grab and too late that no word. I darted right through Mom's legs. Her fingers brushed my back and she reached for me, but I did not stop. I ran straight into that room where I knew the cats were waiting for me. Maybe a puppy alone wasn't enough to lift my girl's sadness, but a puppy playing with kittens would surely put a smile on her face. Lily, Mom called sternly. Sometimes people will speak in a certain tone of voice. When they do it, it's best to ignore them because that kind of voice never leads to any fun. Especially, it's especially important to ignore them when there is a new cat family to meet. The mother cat, black all over, was sitting on a bare mattress on the bed. When I bound in, she leaped to her feet with the most astonishing sound I'd ever heard. It was sort of a snarl and sort of a wail. Her ears were flat against her head, and with her fur fluffed out all over, she appeared twice my size. Her mouth was open wide, and she hissed, showing all her teeth. They looked very sharp. From up on the bed beside the angry mother, there came a sound of frantic, high-pitched mewing. Kittens leaped off the mattress and raced in all directions, even faster than Stripes and Blotchy ran when we'd play Chase Me. A gray kitten disappeared under the dresser. Two with yellowish stripes dived beneath the bed, and a little black one disappeared, though I could not see where. On the bed, a white kitten backed up her mother by hissing ferociously at me and showing me all her tiny teeth. Maggie Rose, shut the door so none of the kittens get out. Quick, Mom said, and then get Lily. I jumped up and put my front paws on the edge of the mattress, wagging furiously. The mother cat, the baby cat were still angry, even though I was clearly just trying to play. I glanced over my shoulder for help as Mom slowly approached the bed. Easy, sweetie. We're here to take care of you, she told the ferocious mother cat. Maggie Rose shut the door and came toward me. I dashed to the opposite side of the bed from Mom and put my front feet up there, wagging. I was sure that the cats would see that I was a good playmate. My ears were up, my tail was high, and I gave a friendly yip. They'd understand that I was no threat, and once we started to wrestle, my girl would laugh and want to play too. The mother cat did not seem to like the idea of Mom or my girl getting close to the bed. This is the frustrating thing about cats. They live with people but don't care about them as much as dogs do. I could tell by her stiff, unfriendly posture that it was not important to the mother cat whether Maggie Rose was happy or not. The mother retreated, still hissing, and fluffed herself up even bigger. How did she do that? My fur would go up a little bit around my neck and shoulders if I wanted to look fierce, but hers could bristle all over her body. Here's a picture to go with the page that was just read. I jumped but fell back on the floor with a plop. This bed was even harder to climb than up on a stair. The mother cat was moving away from me, right toward Mom. She seemed more worried about a puppy than people. In one quick movement, Mom put both of her gloved hands around the cat's body. The mother yowled and fought, but Mom held her tightly and sighed with relief. Okay, I'll get her in a cage and take you downstairs, she told Maggie Rose. The kittens will be calmer if they can't hear her. See if you can start catching them. Mom hauled the struggling mother cat out of the room, closing the door quickly behind her. The white kitten on the bed was still hissing and spitting at me. Suddenly, Maggie Rose was tense all over. I looked up at her in surprise. Weren't we playing? She didn't seem sad. She seemed excited. Lily, this is our last chance, she whispered to me. Help with the kitten. We'll show Mom what you can do. She picked me up and dumped me on the bed. I understood now that this kitten wasn't furious like the mother. She was frightened, just as Missy had been frightened. But I'd shown Missy that I was not scary. I could do the same thing here. First, I crouched down on the bed so I would not tower over the kitten. Then I squirmed toward her on my belly. The kitten stopped hissing, but she backed away from me, confused. Maggie Rose swept toward her and scooped her up in her hands. There, there, it's okay, she whispered, cuddling the kitten close to her chest and stroking its fur. That kitten was no longer available to play with, but there were plenty of others. I was happy to see my girl holding a kitten. She seemed less sad now. My plan to cheer her up was working. Excited, I leaped down to the floor and poked my nose under the bed. A tiny yellowish paw with even tinier claws shot out at me. I jumped back, shaking my head and sneezing. This was not a mean kitten or an angry kitten. He wanted to play. I could tell by how softly the paw had landed on my snout. I thrust my nose toward the space under the mattress again, sniffing eagerly. A yellowish face peeked out. Good, Lily, Maggie Rose sang as she leaned down and swept up one yellowish kitten. When a yellow sister stuck her head out to see what was going on, my girl grabbed her as well. She plopped them both on the bed next to the white kitten, who was no longer hissing. They sniffed each other, probably marveling that they had met a puppy. The gray kitten under the dresser was meowing frantically as if it couldn't get out. My girl lay down flat on the floor and reached beneath the piece of furniture. Her hand came out clutching a kitten, which she took to the bed too. There was now a pile of kittens up there. I wagged up at them because the white kitten was staring down at me. The two yellowish ones were wandering over the mattress, mewing. Maggie Rose set the gray one down among them. Then she reached down for me. Okay, Lily. Help them not to be scared. Mom will see you're a rescue dog. Lily, you can do this. She put me down on the bed. Kittens scattered and squeaked and sat or stared. I sat too and stared back. These were kittens like Stripes and Blotchy, but I wasn't sure if they all wanted to play like Stripes and Blotchy had. Wouldn't they puff up and yowl and hiss like the angry mother cat? No, they wouldn't. They seemed curious about me. They seemed curious about me now that I was sitting down. The white one and one of the yellowish ones came hesitantly forward on skinny legs to examine me. I stretched out my nose. They sniffed, I sniffed. Their fear was leaving them. One of them nuzzled at my cheek, emitting a tiny, not barking sound. The gray one came toward me, unsure, ready to run. I licked his face. He fell back in surprise, his bright eyes blinking. One of his sisters pounced on him. They were playing. I poked my nose between them, hoping they would let me play too. I could sense my girl standing at the edge of the bed, watching eagerly. Clearly, I'd been right all along. Watching her puppy play with kittens was the secret to pushing away her sadness. The little white kitten crouched down, her rump stuck up. It wiggled. It wasn't exactly like a bow that a dog would make if he or she wanted a game, but it was close. Was she telling me she wanted to play with me? Yes, she was. There wasn't much room on the mattress for Chase Me, though I was certainly willing. But instead of running away so I could run after her, she leaped and landed with both front paws around one of mine. She wrestled with my foot and gnawed on it, but her jaws were too weak to really hurt. I picked up my paw and shook it. She tumbled off. Sitting on the squishy mattress with three paws down and one paw up made me wobble. If I fell, I'd be lying down, and the kittens would climb all over me just the way my brothers used to. They might like that. My brothers certainly had. I flopped over, wagging my tail, tapping the bed. A yellowish kitten and the gray one came to sniff at my face. The gray one batted at my ear. The other yellowish one leaped nimbly up and walked along my side. Her tiny claws prickled and tickled. The white kitten sprang at me to seize my paw again and wrestle with it more. Good dog, Lily, my girl praised. They're not scared anymore. I could tell now that these kittens were even younger than Stripes and Blotchy. That meant I had to be gentle with them. My brothers had never been gentle with me when they wanted to play, but my mother had been. When she wrapped her body around mine or picked me up by the skin on the back of my neck, she'd always been careful not to hurt me. I could be like that. I could be careful with the kittens. The door opened. I glanced over and saw the man who smelled like two different dogs. What in the world is going on here? He demanded. Maggie rose, straightened her posture with a jerk and a small gasp. I jumped up, concerned. Kittens rolled in every direction, mewing. What was the matter with my girl? Did she need me? And that's the end of chapter 16 of Lily's story. I hope you're continuing to enjoy this story and all the videos of people reading them. Thank you.